Very good morning, students. Today we will discuss scalars and vectors. This is a very starting topic of physics, as you know, that how to identify the scalar quantities and vector quantities. So, in my first part of this topic, we'll discuss the types and you can say the applications, some applications of vectors, and then we'll see how it can be useful in other applications of engineering. Myself, Dr. Pradeep Sharma from University of Engineering and Management, and now I'm starting to make you understand what is the difference between a scalar quantity and a vector quantity. So first of all, we will understand what is scalar. As you know that there are certain physical quantities we use to define where we don't have to give a specific parameters. The only single parameter is required. Like if we want to describe the length of this car, for example, so length is a physical quantity over here. But to describe the length of the physical quantity, we just need a value, which is called the magnitude. So length of a car is 4.5 meters. So it's a physical quantity described completely by a magnitude, a value, like mass of gold bar. So mass of gold bar is 1 kilogram. Okay. So mass is a physical quantity, but the value of this physical quantity is 1 kilogram, and that is the magnitude. So we can understand that to identify, to explain, to describe a physical quantity completely, if we require only one value, that is magnitude, then that is sufficient. So for few physical quantities, like again time is there, time is a physical quantity, but to describe it only one value like 12.76 seconds, the magnitude is required. There is no other value required to describe the what is time. Temperature again is a physical quantity and only one value is required. So there is a scalar is a physical quantity that has only a magnitude. And examples, you know, there are mass, length, time, temperature, volume, density. But do all physical quantities require only one value to describe? Let us see. Now we have to see the vector. What is a vector? See over here, there is a map, and if we go over a map like from California to North Carolina, so position of California from North Carolina is 3600 kilometers. So if we give the position only, then position is a physical quantity and 3600 kilometer is a value. But to which direction if we move, then this distance will come. So if we move in west, then this 36 kilometer is California from North Carolina. So the direction over here is playing an important role. Like for example, displacement from USA to China is 11,600 kilometers in east. So if we go east of USA, then the distance is 11,600. So definitely a physical quantity like displacement is described completely when we give an additional parameter of direction to its earlier parameter value, the magnitude. So we require direction plus magnitude to describe certain physical quantities. So a vector is a physical quantity that has both a magnitude and a direction. So examples are position, displacement, velocity, acceleration, momentum, and force. So these are the physical quantities which we cannot describe completely if we are not providing two important parameters with them, magnitude and direction. Now, how to represent a vector? So, representation of a vector can be given by symbolically like this AB and this arrow sign, and it represents a vector like a tail and a head is there, and theta is giving the direction from the tail. So, you can understand that how we can represent a vector. They are also represented by single capital letter or arrow above it, with an arrow above it. So A, B, and like that we can point out vector. Some vector quantities are represented by their respective symbols with an arrow above it, like it's a position vector, so R vector, R as arrow symbol. Velocity is V vector, force is F vector. A type of vector on the basis of orientation, if we see, it means how we orient the vector, how we are placing the vector. So there are parallel vectors. So two vectors are said to be parallel if they have same direction. Like you see that the vector length, you see the vector length are different, but the direction are same. So there is no issue about the magnitude value, but the direction should be same. So they are parallel vector. Like in P also, the magnitude, the value, the length of the vector are different, but the directions are same. Equal vectors. So equal vectors are those which are parallel, but they have the same magnitude. So over here, if we see, there are A and B vectors, P and Q vectors. But if you see, the magnitude also of these two vectors are equal. So A vector is equal to B vector. We cannot say that A is equal to B only. We will say that the vectors are equal. So when we say the vectors are equal, magnitude as well as directions are same. Anti-parallel vectors. So if the vectors are having unequal or equal, unequal or equal magnitudes, but the directions are opposite to each other. So two vectors are said to be anti-parallel if they are in opposite directions. So you can see A and B have different magnitude, different values, but they are in opposite direction, like in P and Q. So I think these are very easy to understand, the directions, the parallel vectors, equal vectors, anti-parallel vectors. Now we see negative vectors. What is the negative vector? So two anti-parallel vectors are said to be negative if they have same magnitude. So these are type of equal vectors but in opposite direction. Okay, these are equal vectors but in opposite direction. So A and B have same magnitude, but the directions are opposite. So A vector is equal to minus B vector, and P vector is equal to minus Q vector. So I hope this is a very simple representation of how you what type of vectors you have learned. We have the parallel vectors, equal vectors, anti-parallel vectors, and negative vectors, opposite. So two vectors are said to be collinear. This is again a different type of vectors, collinear vectors. The two vectors are said to be collinear vectors if they act along the same line. So if you see, the direction of A vector is the same line as the direction of B vector. Okay, so that can point to the same point also, or they can follow the same path, like P and Q, if you are seeing. Co-initial vectors. So you can understand from the word co-initial, those vectors which are said to be initiated, said to start from the same point. So two or more vectors are said to be co-initial if they have common initial point, common starting point. Like here you have that all four vectors A, B, C, D are starting from the same point. Coterminous vector. Coterminous. So you can understand, if two or more vectors are like that, they have the common terminal point, like we are having here. A, B, and C, D vectors are ending, are terminating at the same point, then we can say that these are coterminous vectors. Coplanar vectors. Three or more vectors are said to be coplanar if they lie in the same plane. So you can understand that A, B, C, D, there are no restriction about their direction. They can be in any direction, but they should lie in the same plane. Okay, so line of action of all the vectors should be in the same plane. Non-coplanar vectors. Three or more vectors are said to be non-coplanar if they are not coplanar. So we can say that they are distributed in a space. So the direction of these three or more vectors are such that they are pointing in different directions and their line of actions are also in different planes. So you can understand that is a known coplanar vector. So you can understand that B vector is having this plane of working, C vector is working horizontally, and A vector is something in any other direction. Though there are different planes, so we can say that these are non-coplanar vectors. Now we see the type of vector. Already we have learned the type of vectors on the basis of orientation. Now we will see type of vectors on the basis of effect. What is the effect basically? Okay, so polar vectors. So vectors having a straight line effect are called polar vectors, like displacement, velocity, acceleration, force. So they are actually working in a straight line. They have a straight line effect. So these are polar vectors. Axial vectors, they which have rotational effect because the direction is aligned. Direction is integral part of this physical quantity. So when the direction is such that the resultant physical quantity is rotating about any axis, so we call is axial vectors. So angular momentum, angular velocity, angular acceleration, torque are few of the examples. Now we see how to have the additional effects. If we have one or more vectors, so how we will add two vectors, or how we can see the effect of addition of two and more physical quantities. So first of all, we have to see what is triangle law. So if two vectors are there, A and B, so working in different directions, so the resultant vector will be the sum. If we can add the tail of one vector to the head of another vector, then we will get the result C vector. So C vector is equal to A vector plus B vector, like this. There is a parallelogram law. I know that you are using this in many of the numericals in mechanical problems. So if two pulleys are there, so you can understand the working force in working in A direction, another is working in B direction. So what will be the resultant? So resultant will be somewhere in between these two vectors, so that we can find using parallelogram law. So that is the result which is actually represented by the this C vector. Okay, so C is equal to A plus B. Polygon law. So polygon law represents that if more than two vectors are working, so how we can find the result. So you can understand that if more than two vectors are working in different directions, and if we can place all these vectors such that it starts from one vector and then we place another vector with the tail point on the head of the first and again the tail point on the head of the earlier, then we can reach out the, we can say the resultant E vector. So E vector is nothing, it's basically the sum of all the vectors taking into account the value and the direction. So the polygon law represents this. There is a commutative property in vectors. So C is equal to A plus B, so it will be B plus A. So addition of vectors obey commutative law. Again, addition of vectors obey associative law. It means if it is A plus B, which is C, then if we add again the C value, which will be D. So D is equal to A plus B plus C, or we can say D is equal to A plus B plus C. So we can see over here in the different diagrams, the resultant will be same. So addition of vectors obey associative law. Subtraction of vectors. So subtraction of vector, if we can make an arrangement where we can have the second vector in opposite direction aligned with the first vector. The subtraction is represented by A minus B, which is A plus minus of b vector. So you can understand we have made this second vector b as opposite direction, then we can add these two vectors, so we will have this addition with minus b. That will represent the subtraction of two vectors. So over here, up to this point, now in the second part we will learn vector addition. So uh, over here I am stopping, and in second part we will learn the vector addition. Okay, thank you.